Daily Wire co-CEO Jeremy Boring steps down. Axios. A conservative media company, Daily Wire, started in 2015 and announced in a memo to staff on Tuesday that he is stepping down as co-CEO to focus on creative work, saying, I will remain with the company in an advisory role and focus full-time on creative projects, including completion of Daily Wire's TV series, The Pendragon Cycle, where he is the director and executive producer. Boring, who helped launch the outlet with $4.7 million in seed alongside Caleb Robinson and Ben Shapiro, grew it to $1 billion value market media giant. He will continue hosting Daily Wire backstage. Ben Shapiro, Matt Walsh, Michael Knowles, and Andrew Clavin. Caleb Robinson, the company's founding CEO and co-CEO with Boring since 2019, will take over as a full-time CEO immediately. Boring's decade-long tenure saw the Daily Wire expand from a small news startup into a major player with Daily Wire's subscription streaming service. And Ben Key, a kid streamer, as he noted in his shift, I will remain with the company in an advisory role. This is a very nicely written article and put a valuation on the business, which is very kind. Tom, how closely are you following this? Are you following this at all?
Yeah, I love to read these kind of announcements because I think they're really interesting. And I think if you read enough into it, you don't have to be a conspiracy theorist or to dive in or bend the words to get the truth out of it. Once upon a time, he was a co-CEO. There have been a lot of articles that have come out there. There have been a lot of things that have been in the media, things that happened to people that have left the Daily Wire that have talked about, you know, hey, Jeremy may or may not be the easiest guy to work with there. And so now he's like, okay, I'm not going to be co-CEO anymore. Check, fact. I am going to finish some of the content. Well, we've seen him do content. We've seen him do a lot of different content over there. So he's finishing up something that he's shooting, the Pendragon Cycle. Okay, that makes sense. And I'll still be with the gang when we get together for Daily Wire Backstage. Okay, well, that's a piece of content, so he's going to drop in and do that. Okay, I believe that. And then you come down to the rest of it, but I'll remain with the company advisory role. So it's like, okay, so you're really stepping out of management. And so the translation I would do, okay, he's going to get out of people's hair. He's going to finish what he's doing on Pendragon Cycle. He may drop back in for some of the episodes, but then he's an advisor. To me, this is one of those things where you shift and roll out. And if you know anything about the history of Uber, you'll know that this is kind of what happened until they finally just moved him out to Travis Kalanick. Travis Kalanick was a CEO who was very hard on people, and he was very, very driven. And certain chapters of the company, they said, you know, we don't want to do this anymore, and you're going to go over here. And so when I read all the stuff that came before it and this, it's you know, where there's smoke, there's fire, and we've seen so many articles.
Piggybacking off of Tom, the amount of, and I guess we always want to be with facts, right? But the amount of rumors. Ian Carroll did a huge, like 9-minute video breakdown, but he did another one when he was on a.
You want Starbucks or what would you like? Just regular coffee or Starbucks?
Whatever
like
works.
They have it. If we can just bring it in right now.
Oh yeah, they got
you
it.
Want Starbucks? Well, it's down the street.
No, they got one.
They got one.
Okay.
No, Adam can
Don't
go get
sexually
it.
harass any of them. Don't touch anybody.
Schulz.
Don't touch him. Let me do it. I don't want you guys to try to molest.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, are you okay?
Kelly,
Thank
can I
you
get a
so
hot
much.
tea? This is delicious. Thank you, Kelly.
We need
Can I
the
get an
nipple
old fashioned
clamps.
with a cigar and a cutter at this point? Go ahead. Lobster would be
want a
great.
foot
And some
massage.
sushi. Go ahead, Vinny.
But from what I've gathered, and again, these are all rumors, but it seems like they're all pointing at this place, that this dude was one of the hardest dudes to work for. Candace just made a video yesterday. Like I said, Ian made one. Pappy, think about it. As a co-CEO, you let go of Candace Owens, which is one of the biggest names in the social media space. Brett Cooper leaves, and you think you're going to replace her with her friend that tried to come in. It's obviously not working. The guy is a self-proclaimed, meaning he calls himself the God King. Rob, what was that picture that you had? Even his licensed parking spot has God King. And bro, you're not. And another rumor is that the dude shows up to work, he ain't shooting anything, and he puts makeup on. It's like, this is just the recipe for disaster where you're trying to be the quarterback and you're not the starting quarterback, bro. And
How's
this is
the business doing?
not good.
How do you know, though?
I just because of just my as a content consumer,
Yeah.
I used to watch it, bro. I used to listen to Ben Shapiro. I used to be all like, wow, and you know, the facts don't care about your feelings and everything. And then something shifted, bro. And I'm being
Republicans won.
I mean, yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, exactly. No, that's what I'm saying. But then
What do you mean? But wait a minute. What do you mean by that? Are you saying the fact that there's no longer an enemy and that's why they took a hit?
No. Like, you know, a lot of times success has to do with social utility. And there was a time where, like, being a conservative was considered very radioactive by many people in this country and largely the mainstream media. So they needed intelligent conservatives to equip them with arguments so they could defend their positions. And Ben Shapiro is like obviously a very smart guy. He's annoying, but he's definitely smart. And he's a lawyer, so he can develop these like ironclad arguments. And he went around the country and he went, talking to the college kids and dunking on them and posting it. And he made a huge name for himself for creating these ironclad arguments to basically help people that didn't know how to develop them themselves, but felt very strongly about their, conservative values. Now it's not radioactive to be conservative. Matter of fact, the majority of the country is conservative. They no longer need protection, conservatives, right? Conservatives no longer need to have like ironclad arguments to prove that they're not bad people, that they're not toxic, they're not radioactive. So the social utility has gone down, and
meaning they don't have an enemy? Is that kind of what you're saying? So there's not an antagonist anymore because
I think that's part of it.
Won?
But I think it's more just like at me, the consumer, right? Like I think a lot of their they're going after like Christian conservatives, right? I think now they're like the Christian conservatives, like, all right, well, yeah, it's not bad to be conservative anymore. Matter of fact, it's like cool to be conservative.
Exactly.
And all the most dominant forces in media right now are conservative. Right. So like, I don't need to defend myself anymore. So I don't need to pay this guy.
There's a part of it that I want to believe that, but also, Rob, if you pull up the article that says Fox just had their most viewed viewership ever. And it was a record-breaking, I think this was just reported last week, if I'm not mistaken, Rob.
So people are going back to traditional news, you're saying?
No, it was end of January, early February, and it was the 500 out of 510
no,
or
not
something.
This one. This is something that came up. This is the 506 out of 506. Top 506 shows out of 506 were all from Fox News. But I thought it was going to be something where liberals were going to, different shows to be able to go after Trump. Because, comedians like when Bush was president, you saw Will Ferrell. I want to talk about, taking, steroids out of T-ball, T-ball, right? So I thought that was going to be taking place. But the question with the business, Tom, do you know anything about their business or no? Is there any stories about the business that's public or no?
No, I dug in trying to find some numbers saying it was somebody leaking like the number of subscribers now versus previously. And there's a few things out there that seem to indicate that maybe they were looking for more financing or maybe they had a little financial stress, but nothing conclusive with a bunch of numbers that says, hey, subscribers went from A to B.
Right.
Views have.
Real quick.
Views have?
I mean, if you look at Brett Cooper's channel, she left, the comment section was her channel, and her views were getting 1,712,751,000. Then they took her producer and put her in her place on the same channel, and now look at the views. 26,000, 31,000, 23,000. So just on this channel alone, you're seeing them go from 700,000 an episode down to 25,000.
And that's our friend, mind you, bro. That's our friend that they tried to finagle and put her in, and But now Brent Cooper's killing it.
I mean, also you need stars on a network, right? Like stars going to obviously drive attention, but another thing is like I think Daily Wire was positioning themselves not only in terms of news, but they were doing like scripted content. The idea was like we're going to do more conservative leaning content, TV shows, films, and it's just like, well, yeah, now that's everywhere. How many different lawmans are there? How many different 1923 Yellowstone? Like every show on TV that's successful right now is conservative leaning. So it became. They were able to succeed. You could call it like when there was an enemy, they could market against it. They're like, hey, sign up over here because you don't get this content anywhere else. Well, now it is the prevailing content. So why do I need to subscribe to you and get one movie a year and then get the same talking points that I'm going to hear all these other places for free when I could just watch all the scripted TV shows I want on every different network that's out right now? And I can consume a lot of the same like talking points, or I don't want to say the same talking points, but like a similar... get the similar emotional validation for my feelings as a conservative from watching various other podcasts that are on the internet. Like it doesn't make any sense to subscribe. Like what's the utility in it? Just to listen to Ben? Right. Like Matt Walsh to me is the only person that's getting any cultural attention. Man, he left?
No, I'm saying he's the only one left.
Oh, yeah.
He's the only guy that you can actually tolerate and listen to.
He's the only one that I see getting cultural relevance and attention at that network anymore. And I also think that like Israel-Palestine thing, obviously,
that was the biggest.
Huge.
That was
huge.
Yeah, because I don't know if you know this. Ben Shapiro, he's Jewish. I don't know if you
What?
know that. Yeah,
Ben?
swear to God, yeah. Ben.
No way.
Ben?
That's just a cool hat.
I chat GBT'd it, yeah. But Jeremy Boring, the CEO, he's Christian.
But I thought he was Jewish.
He's Christian.
Hold on a second.
See, you're always assuming. Vinny,
Okay,
there he
hold on.
goes.
Hold on.
You're wrong. You don't need to check it.
Okay. I want to bet.
Go ahead.
Okay.
So, but, Pat, you're very big on reinventing yourself. Pat, you started off talking about entrepreneurship, and then you went into bodybuilding, and then you went into mafia, and then you went into business, and then you went into politics, and then, culture. We got Andrew Schulz here. So at least we, from time to time, have a comedian, right, Vinny? So what happens is Ben Shapiro...
You're
Schulz
about to have a fight, but go ahead.
We talk about social utility. Ben, when he showed up 10 years ago, they never seen anything like him. It was almost like when Lenny Bruce showed up in the comedians, and they're like, "Yo, who is this dude?"
I remember watching a lot of his content. Like you'd see him like on stage at like some school, and he would be debating like Black Lives Matter or something like that, and he would have the most ironclad arguments, and there was a lot of social utility. Now everybody's got it. Like, what is that? There was a white space in the market, and now that market's full. So what else are you offering to people?
And then you also had Steven Crowder showed up. He was doing his thing, showing up, and Charlie Kirk is the GOAT at it right now.
Charlie's eating his lunch. Charlie's eating Ben's lunch.
Because Charlie has Ben's talking points, but he's got that riz. Don't underestimate charisma and the riz.
He's also a Christian. I think that's important to acknowledge.
That's true. They see the yarmulke and they're like, I don't know.
It's not exactly to see the yarmulke, but I think that if you're somebody who is a devout believer in Christ, right? Like naturally seeing somebody else who's like opinions, beliefs, and like drive for life is motivated by the same thing as you are, it's going to be way more relatable.
But
you just said the right word, relatable.
Yeah.
In my opinion, the Daily Wire, they're almost like elitists, and they're smart. Give them credit. They're like the Ivy League type people, right? What's up?
I put hand sanitizer.
Okay.
But
I thought you were giving me like
go
at him.
That's not what you get.
But like a Charlie Kirk didn't go to college. He's not a lawyer.
Yeah.
He's just a dude that read a lot of books. So he's more relatable.
Yeah. I mean, look, here's the reality of it. Running a business is very hard. It's so easy from the outside to criticize anybody that's running a business. It's so hard, it's not even funny. You lose sleep. It leads to marriages not working out. It leads to friendships not working out. It leads to anxiety, to panic, to sleepless nights, to criticism. But you chose to do that. You chose the job. So that's not like nobody told you not to do it. You do a Netflix special and it isn't good, the market's going to tell you. You crush it, they're going to tell you. As a comedian, you have a risk. As an athlete, you have a risk. As a performer, you have a risk. And they have a risk there as well. The reality of it is, when it comes down to Jeremy, my gut feeling, when I went the first time to Paramount, when the building that Glenn Beck and the Blaze bought, I said, wow, Glenn, so you run this entire place? He says, oh, hell no. I'm just a creative. I was like, whoa. You know how long it took him to say that? Half a second.
Quick.
So he left to start the Blaze, and then he realized he's just a creative.
Yeah.
He's an artist.
Yeah.
One of the hardest things to do is to be a creative and be able to operate.
Yeah.
That is not easy. Because imagine he's trying to be an actor and he's trying to do the movie and he's trying to get into the part. And then at the same time, hey, we just lost 3 employees.
Yeah.
What do you want me to do with this new guy that we hired? All right, cut. Guys, I need 7 minutes.
Great point.
The fuck is up? And then you try to smile. Hey, Jeremy, you look angry. Let me watch a cat video. Say, hey, 2 more people quit. Motherfucker, let me give me a break. Cut. Like, dude, it's like, if you're an artist, be an artist. Like when you see Christian Bale lose his shit, I understand. You're a creative. Leave me the F alone. Put the freaking mic up. I'm trying to get into this part. You're standing there holding the shit, getting in. Do your damn job, right? So I understand the creative. You're trying to be creative, and you're trying to do this. One of the best things Greg Popovich ever told, I was about to say Derek Harper.
Tim Duncan.
Not, who was the guy? Derek Parker? Was it something?
Tony Parker.
Tony Parker.
French.
I said Harper. I went back to
Have
like
a little
old
respect for Tony Parker.
Yeah, Tony Parker. You know what he said to him?
What?
He said, hey, I think I want to be the #1 guy. I read the story somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
So he says, look, you can go anywhere else you want. You'll average 32 points a game. You'll be a superstar. You'll be up there. No problem. You will not win championships. Tim Duncan's our player.
Wow.
Oof.
If you want to play point guard, you got to place here. We'll win championships. If Jeremy is able to just be creative and give his wealth of knowledge he has of, what do you call it, Daily Wire, and, you know, who's the other, Caleb? Is it Caleb? If you don't know what he looks like, that's
Better.
Probably a better
That's
thing.
right. That's what I'm saying.
yeah.
So if you
You don't want a
Is that- is it
celebrity
Caleb
see it.
Robinson? Yeah. So if he, Caleb Robinson, I think.
Caleb
if,
how?
If he, no, to the right, Rob. To the right, it says Caleb Robinson. I think that's the guy. If he's one of the owners of.
Executive producer?
Yeah. So if the co-CEO, they mentioned the name here. Can you make sure I get the name right? Who else the co-CEO?
Caleb,
Caleb
Robinson.
Robinson.
Yes, you're right.
If he's the CEO and Jeremy becomes creative and Ben is doing his thing here, Boca, and he goes back and forth with Nashville, whatever he's doing, they have to recreate themselves. But also don't forget, there's another group of people that nobody hears about, and that's investors. Investors will come in and they'll say things like this. That's not working out. Yeah. What do you mean? It's time. And then there's a very ugly board meeting, very entertaining, back and forth.
Yeah.
And you have to find a way to make a decision gently. And slowly, the person who leaves is going to tell their version of the story. Then the company, and many times, they can't tell the full story. So they're the ones that are going to be bashed for a long time because they can't fully tell the whole story. Like, I wish you knew what happened, but I can't tell you the full story. Then there's employees on the inside that are leaking information to others on the outside. So podcasters and everybody else is kind of telling their version of the story. And then there's people that are leaking misinformation to confuse everybody with a story. But it takes 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and then you realize what really happened. Here, I actually think Jeremy's a creative guy. He has a dream since he was a kid. He wants to do something. Go for it. I like the fact that Candace was very respectful to Ben, gave Ben the respect, and I actually really like the way she did it. And I would like to see those two do something here soon, Candace and Ben. I think it'd be great for them to do a conversation together. I'm not saying her going, but that'll never happen. I'm just saying the fact that they do something together, because a team of rivals is still better than what the enemy is trying to do to everybody. If we can figure out a way to get the team of rivals to work together, it's a good thing. And trust me, I've done many jobs that the responsibility's been on me that I hated it. I'll never forget one of my guys, we're sitting on a board, Tom, you may remember this. I said, how much do you like selling annuities? I hate it. Really? Yes, I hate it. I don't want that responsibility. What do you want to do? I just want to do this. I said, no problem. If I say the thing, everybody will know who I'm talking about. I said, you will never have to worry about this. Focus on this. Are you good? The level of anxiety and panic gone. He performed well here. We gave this job to another person that Tom hired. We were good to go.
Smart.
So I hope this happens. And by the way, don't be surprised if somebody comes in and picks it up. And Adam, I'm moving on. Don't be surprised if somebody comes in and tries to pick it up and buy it. And
There was a rumor.
there's some kind of thing that happened.
Yep.
Great. That may also be a good. But if that does happen, guess who's doing that? Guess who's doing that? Guess who's causing that? Investors.
Of course.
Investors are like, hey,
What could Daily Wire be? It seems like a lot of these places, they can really only be like incubation chambers for talent, because the talent knows what views they're getting. They know how successful they are versus everybody else there, and they know how to create their shows. So they're like, all right, all these people like me and my show and my content. So like once my contract's up, I'll leave. I mean, you see this happen with Barstool a lot, right? And Portnoy says it plain and simple. He's like, listen, we're here. We have like the, was it the music model? Where like we're going to sign a bunch of different artists. We're going to see which one cracks. But eventually they're going to grow out of Barstool. And you see it happen all the time. So
that's not their model, though.
Well,
Daily Wire's model is the opposite.
that's what they think, and then Brett leaves, and then Candace leaves, and then all these other people leave, and they have huge success after leaving. So now Matt's got to be looking at that going, hold on, I'm getting paid this here, but if I do it myself, and I can produce all these documentaries by myself, I can make all this shit by myself, I can make this amount of money? I just don't understand what their leverage is. It's not like back in the day when HBO owned a channel on TV, and the only way you could get on that channel was through HBO.
Right.
They're putting their content out on YouTube. They don't own YouTube. So
They have an OTT, though. They have an OTT with a couple 100,000 subscribers that's paying monthly.
which is huge.
So it's a real volume. That's a real
How
number.
much is Matt getting of that? And what if Matt could do that by himself?
So you know where you go with this. Now you're talking business model, where the difference is they went after people that were already established outside of Brett Cooper. Candace was already established. Jordan Peterson was already established. So maybe a couple people that came up there. But the business model has to be questioned as well. You have to sit there and question the business model.
Also, sorry to keep going, but like also if you're a content creator, you have to look at going over to that place that might be viewed as radioactive and how people are going to view you after that. Like I think Peterson's been going down since being there. His public perception, 100%.
Why do you say that?
I don't know. I just see it. It seems skewed. I think like before, like when he was coming up, there was this like bipartisan support for Peterson, the message that he had. And now I think that it's become quite partisan. Like the way now he also got so big, and when naturally you get successful, people are going to criticize you. But I don't think that it's at the same level that it was before. And I don't know if that's an indictment on Daily Wire, but when you are next to something that is radioactive, you're going to get some of that.
I don't disagree. And again, we're going to see what's going to happen next with these guys and what they do. But we will be following the story closely to see what happens with those guys. The future looks bright. Spring collection is officially here. I don't know if you've noticed. The White House tweeted future looks bright this week.
Yep.
Everybody's tweeting. Ripple tweeted future looks bright. Wow. This new gear is the puff print, which, by the way, this right here, this will not last. This hat, future looks bright, will not last. You see the logo that pops. If you see the future looks bright,
matches the
lettering
outfit.
that pops.
I like it.
Okay, we got this for Adam. We got this for some folks that if you want to wear the spring collection, we have this here. We have another color here again for spring collection, the brown one.
Buy
then
two
we got
and do a
these
gender reveal.
Visors. Well, by the way, guys, these shirts, I dare you to order one, wear it out, okay?
That's
if
sick.
you don't get a compliment on it, message me. We'll give you 2 of these for free.
Is that the deal? No compliment.
Well, he's going to do it here.
You get
Look
no
at this.
compliment.
If you don't get a compliment, we'll give you 2 more of those shirts that nobody likes.
Future looks bright. Look at this here. By the way, feel the material. How this
Feels good.
This
It
is
feels
called the
really
puff print. Feel
Yeah,
it. Feel the material.
We'll make you a good deal. If
It's
nobody
sick.
like your shirt, you
Anyways,
get 2 more.
Spring collection,
Be
go
like
out there
Don
and do
Lemon.
it.
Feel the nipples.
Anybody that places an order, we're putting in one of these new custom VT mugs that are here that has been made for anybody that places an order. We're going to send you one mug as well. Spring collection, place your order before these things sell out. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.